Hello and welcome to Insights in Action with Orange 142, where we interview agency leaders and business owners to uncover the journeys, strategies, and insights that drive their success. At Orange 142, we're all about transforming brand stories into impactful digital experiences through innovative media and marketing solutions. And today I'm very lucky to be joined by Hami Arrington of One Foot Over. How's it going, Hami?
It's great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for being on. And Hami, I'd love to just start this off by learning a little bit more about you and your background, what got you into One Foot Over, and a little bit more about One Foot Over.
Sure. Yeah. So we are a B2B marketing agency. We're based in Houston, Texas. We are a little over 8 years old, and I am one of two founders of the agency. We serve B2B tech and industrial marketing companies, and we like to build their marketing and sales engines. And so, whatever that takes, that's what we do.
Awesome. And what about you? What got you into marketing and all of this fun stuff?
Yeah, so I don't know how far you want to go back, but
Up to you.
I've, I've really had an interest in marketing for really all of my life. And I would say that it started when I was a child. My mom was a single mom and she was getting her college degree. She's going to university while I was little. And so sometimes she would not have a person to watch me. And so she would take me to her classes. And one of the classes was especially impactful for me, and that was a psychology class. And that was one that I went to. I must have gone several times, and I was probably around 7 or 8, and went to the psychology class. And I just thought it was like just so super interesting to hear about how people's brains worked. And then one of the things that I just remember that it was talking about dreams, this particular class was talking about dreams and how you could actually control your dreams. And I as a 7 or 8 year old, I was like, oh my gosh, this is wild, what? And so there were some tactics that the professor had given to control your dreams. And it was really then where I was like, wow, that is really amazing that you can control thoughts, right? And so fast forward when I got to be a little bit older, my mother, she got married, and at that point we had a marketing agency. It was a family marketing agency, and that was at that point where I was like, "Oh wow, this is really interesting with marketing." Like the business aspect of it and also the psychology aspect of it, and really understanding people and understanding how you can change behaviors just by understanding how they act and how they think. And yeah, I just feel like I was set on this path to become a marketer, and really has become a passion of mine to really understand people, not just understand people, but how to apply that to business as well.
Wow, so you were in psychology classes when you were 7 or 8 years old. That's pretty interesting. And you found it interesting. I feel like those early psychology classes are always super fun. And then people go really deep into psychology and then it becomes it's all technical. But those early ones are so fun. And I also think that psychology, it like the business of psychology is marketing. You know what I mean? And that's what makes marketing so interesting. It's like psychology on this large scale, but there's like actual advertising dollars behind it. People spend all of this money trying to affect people. And it's just you had this not only this amazing experience when you were like 7 or 8 learning about this, but you had a family marketing agency too. So you got to learn both of those sides. Well, it's almost like you were like destined to be in marketing. Is that right?
Yeah, no, I think it is. So I've just really taken that path, and I worked at that agency for a while as an adult as well. And I was like, this is really, I don't think I want to do this thing forever. And went back to school and got my MBA, and to like a pivot to B2B marketing. So I was doing B2C before and then pivoting to B2B marketing, and worked for an agency for a while. And I was like, you know what? I think I can do this. I don't think I need to work for somebody. I think I can do this on my own. I've seen how it can be done and can be done successfully. And yeah, I just really have leaned into that. And I think that it's just really this love for marketing that has really, I think that is like the foundation of why One Foot Over has done as well as it has.
Yeah, absolutely. And I gotta know what's the story behind the name of One Foot Over?
Yeah, so this is one of the questions that we get all the time, because it could have been like Hami Arrington marketing or something like
All
that.
right.
we really wanted to have a really cool name, something that really embodied us as people. And so Stephen and I we had decided that we were starting an agency together already. And at that time, we were co-chairs on an award show, and we were in a production meeting one day, and we were having this conversation, I remember, with this guy, Mike, and we told Mike all of our ideas. And he was like, yeah, it really seems like you guys really want to take it one foot over the line. And so it was when he said that, both of us, we just stopped the meeting and we just looked at each other and we were like, that's it. That's the name of the agency. So we
That's
got to.
awesome. Yeah. What a cool story. You're right. Most people just have very like basic agency names, and you guys have this like very interesting story where something felt like intuitive, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you have a very unique approach when it comes to marketing for your clients specifically, but you describe it as clarity before tactics. And I'm curious, how does that change the way that campaigns are built when you guys are working for clients?
Yeah, okay, first of all, we always look at everything as right to left, right? So we look at it as what is our goal? What do we really want to do? And then we back it up. We say, okay, so then this is where we want to go. Then this is where we want to start. And so we
Mhm.
really want to be clear on the direction we're going before we start doing tactics, because the tactics is really it takes a lot of work and a lot of time and a lot of energy and resources. And you really want to be clear about that and what you want to do from the beginning. Because if you don't, then you can really go off course very quickly. So you really have to know where you're going first. And I know that we had talked about this before. It's always the psychology, right? You want to know who you're targeting and your customer, who that person is, what are their pain points. And this is a conversation we have all the time. I actually don't like the word pain points. It's really what problems do they have and how can you solve them? And what is their motivations? Those are the things that we're actually looking for when we're looking at an audience. We obviously, I think that HubSpot over the last 10 years or so or whatever has been talking about, oh, you have to figure out like who they are, like what are their watering holes. I remember that's one of the things that they're always talking about, like what are
Yeah.
the watering holes that they're going to, which does make sense to understand, but that's really only the surface. When I'm talking about knowing your audience, it's really knowing them. I can give you an example of the one client that we worked with. So they're in oil and gas and they work with turnarounds.
Mm.
We did a lot of persona work for them before we started really any marketing at all. We were like, let's understand your customers. I know that you think that you understand them and we can ask you questions, but let's go ahead and do some interviews with them and really talk to them. And so what we uncovered, and this is always my example, what we uncovered during the persona interviews was that in this audience, they do not trust marketers.
Interesting.
They think that marketers are liars. The other interesting thing that we found out was they trust salespeople, which is, I don't think that's intuitive at all.
It's
I
kind of
think
backwards.
yeah, see, I think it's expected that maybe they think that, oh, marketers are liars. Okay, whatever. But they thought that salespeople were really trustworthy. And so then what we did was then built out the entire marketing program around this insight that we knew that, okay, so if they don't trust marketers, but they trust salespeople, then let's build marketing that looks like it came from a salesperson.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
everything, yeah, so everything was a little bit less polished than what you and a marketing team might put out. Things that maybe looked like it could come from a PowerPoint presentation. But we ran ads, we did social media, we sent out emails, and everything just looked like it was from the salespeople. And it was a really successful strategy that we took by taking that route.
Wow, that's awesome. And what a cool, I think that's a big thing that companies themselves do, maybe even some agencies that haven't been around as long as they're just like, all right, let's just go from point A and let's try to get to point B, C, Z. But you guys really start at point Z. And if you wouldn't have done that, then you wouldn't have been able to come to this like conclusion. And you essentially worked backwards from that what you found in the personas. That's a really interesting kind of a way to flip the script. And it seems like it worked out really well. And I also can see oil and gas marketing, like traditional marketing, not working out for a lot of them because it's like a very tight industry. So it makes sense. Wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. It just went off fabulously. And the market's changed a little bit since then because that was a few years ago, but we still keep that in mind where it's still that salesperson. So how can we incorporate those things in where it looks like it's coming from the salespeople?
And for that example, how do you go about finding things like that out when you're doing market research, persona research? How is it that you guys came upon a conclusion like that where you were like, wow, okay, these guys don't trust salespeople? Is that through polling? Is that through talking to actual potential customers?
Yeah, we have a very specific set of questions that just like a base set of questions that we ask, but it really is talking about the motivations, right? And it's structured in a way where we talk about like, when did you first hear about this company? What were your thoughts on them? And then we get really granular towards the end of the conversation where we talk about, is there anything that you've ever gotten from a competitor of this company that you have found especially valuable? And then it really does take a skilled interviewer to suss out some of this stuff because it's not just going down the list of questions, it's really listening for, oh, where do I really need to push and ask for some more detail around that. And so that's actually one of the things that we did was in that interview, it came out, especially that question about the promotional materials and the marketing materials, it was like, oh no, I don't really read any of that stuff.
Yeah.
And then it was like really asking, like, oh, so what do you read? And then really asking those
Yeah.
follow-up questions.
That's awesome. Wow, that's really cool. It sounds very in-depth, in detail, which is interesting. You work in industries that have very like traditionally long sales cycles. And so I'm curious, where do you see the future heading for B2B marketing when it comes to these types of companies and these industries with really long sales cycles?
Yeah, you'll have to do more marketing, right? It's really,
Right.
I don't want to sugarcoat that where it really is like it's becoming, but especially with AI now, it seems like everybody's a marketer and everybody feels like they can do the marketing, even if you don't know what good looks like. And I think that's really where the value is for marketers right now is like they really need to understand and communicate that value of I know what good looks like. This may look like it's good, but is it going to work?
Yeah.
Is it not going to work? And so I think that's really the future of marketing now is really you still need to have somebody who is thinking these things through. ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever, it can definitely make you look like you know what you're doing. But to really know what you're doing, you really have to understand. Again, it goes back to your customer, really understanding your customer. What does that sales cycle look like? And what are those messages that really resonate with them? Because AI is just really not going to know that, even if you give them that information. I'm going
Yeah.
to go to that same example of I knew where to push and ask the question, and our interviewers knew where to push and ask those questions, those follow-up questions. But you can feed those questions into a chat GPT and act, okay, I'm asking this person these questions, but that's not going to come out. That's
Right.
just not, you're not going to be able to get that information from them.
That's absolutely true. And I think it's making marketers' jobs all the more important. You know what I mean? Because I think it goes through these cycles where people are like, cool, there's this new tool out. I can just do it myself. And then they don't get results with it. And then it just comes back to, okay, maybe I should actually hire somebody who knows what they're doing. And then they get results and they're like, wow, I should have just done this in the first place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. Yeah, I do love AI, and we do. I think that marketing has been probably one of the most, if not the most, impacted by AI, and we've been using it forever now. It's always been there at this
Yeah.
point. But whenever you are using it, one thing that's really cool is that first draft, it really is so much better than anything I would put together or any
All
junior
right.
employee would have put together. But the way that we look at it here is that, okay, so even if you tell it that in your custom GPT, you say that it is a marketing strategist or a senior marketing strategist or even CMO, you have to treat it like it's a junior marketing person. Like it
Yes.
right
Yeah.
now, that's just how you have to do it like
That's
that.
how it is. Absolutely. Yeah. I just can't beat that experience that somebody like you has. Hami, this has been so great. Thank you so much for being on. Where can people learn more about you and where can people learn more about One Foot Over?
Yeah, a few things that are fun that are happening. So you can find me on all of the social channels at Hami Arrington. That's where you'll find me. One Foot Over is at Get One Foot Over. But we have just recently launched a podcast. It's called the B2B Happy Hour, and you can get that on every where everywhere you listen to your podcast, it's available.
Great, great, awesome. Thank you so much. And I'll include all the links as well, especially to check out the podcast. It sounds a really fun, interesting podcast. And yeah, thank you again for being on, Hami.
All right, thank you, Chev.